I'd like to call this meeting of January 19th, 2022 to order. I'd like
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Got a motion, need a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, time for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Over here, I'll stand here.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and as we always do, we like to share good things. Anyone have any good news to share about the district?
Just excited that, obviously with everything with weather and sickness going around, just excited that we still have kids here and the kids are learning. As you guys saw, there's a lot of really good things that are taking place in the district today.
Congratulations to Coach Smith, win 293, winning as coach in St. James boys basketball history.
All right. Do we have any statements from patrons? No statements. I don't see any patrons, so we're on to presentations. So A+ program, and Dr. Harlan's not here.
So Greg had talked to me because he had a training that was scheduled for today. So I told him I'd go ahead and just cover this for him. With A+, obviously you can read through the top. It's the requirements for a student to reach A+ status. Is he on his way in? He might have made it. I was actually just getting ready to do your A+, so they said there he is. So I said, well, I'll let him have at it.
I apologize for being a couple minutes late. I don't know, do you have the A+ program, as you well know, is basically is an avenue for students to be able to get into junior college or a college atmosphere and hopefully get some financial aid in the process. Our A+ has been on actually a little bit of an improvement this year without reading all the eligibility requirements that are listed there. Probably the thing they get most concerned about is the establishment of achieving the ACT score or their GPA. I think most of our kids will meet one or the other, and so it's a pretty, if they're showing up to school every day, having success in school, that's usually typically not too big a problem for them. But if you can just scroll up a little bit, as you go through there, talked about the tuition reimbursement rate that they're willing to pay out through the A+ programs based on state technical college standard or per credit hour. It's covered up there. And then big thing I really wanted to point out to you here is that this is a table that says 3-year data and total enrollment and percentage of enrollment for our St. James schools. It's broken down by grade level. And then it's you can see if you go back, I went back 3 years, and the seniors have stayed stable. The juniors have actually gone up quite a bit, and then also the sophomores and freshman level. We've had more kids enroll in the last 3 years this year than we have previously. I think the previous 2 years. Probably one of the bigger reasons for that is because of the COVID that we've had. When you get the younger students coming over to the high school, sometimes it's a little harder to get them to get into a process of doing it, that first year. Well, those previous 2 years had COVID-related issues, so I think we had a harder or more difficult time getting the information out to the students, getting them to follow through on the steps they needed to follow through on. But I think previously we had the information back until 2015-16, and currently I believe this is the highest percentage of students that we've had enrolled in the A+ program for a number of years. So we're happy. That's good news. We're happy with that. Typically, the freshmen, as they get older, you'll sometimes see a little bit of a drop in the number of kids for seniors and juniors that are enrolled, simply because something has kept them from no longer qualifying. Sometimes they'll just say, hey, I'm not going to worry about the A+. And so that's one reason you see a little bit of every year that we looked at, it showed a slight decrease in the participation from a freshman to a senior, because they start running into roadblocks that kind of prevent them from doing that. And I think there's just a little bit more at the bottom there. And so, and that's kind of what I said there. Right now, currently, we have 84% of all of our high school students are currently enrolled, which that's the highest we've had in 10 or 12 years. So that, I'm pretty happy about that. I would say that one thing, we do have some seniors who graduate early for whatever reason. They still, I just want to make sure, this is something that's sometimes lost in the mix. Those students still can use their programming money for up to 48 months from the time of graduation. So as long as we put on their transcript that they are the date of their graduation, then they can go ahead and start drawing that money. So if we have somebody graduate in the fall, they can start using that money in the spring, as long as we get the transcript dated right. That's just kind of a quick snapshot of where we're at. And I don't know if anybody's got any questions or not, but that's kind of what we've always done, so.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Dr. Harlan? Thank you. Okay, our next presentation is on the 2022-2023 academic calendar, and Mr. Webster.
So attached, you guys will find the proposed calendar that I'll bring to you later today to get approved for next school year. Using the data from the survey that we sent out, we found community and staff-wise, it was very important to protect a couple things. One was they wanted a full week of spring break. One was they want the full 2 weeks for Christmas. I know next year, just the way Christmas falls, it's very split within school districts if you'll get the 2 weeks or not, but we wanted to protect what our people voted on and give full 2 weeks there. Also, it was very important to our patrons when the start date was, so we went with the majority there on that of when the start date of school was. We feel this fits in alignment with everything that our data showed us. Staff-wise, I sent this out a couple weeks ago. I received feedback from one teacher via email. That was it. So I'm assuming that lack of feedback means we're okay with it. That's the big changes you'll see on the calendar. We saw an opportunity, and through the results, because we asked the question through feedback, if we move our full day PD days to Fridays, we can actually save on some hours there. With Martin Luther King Day, we asked if that was a priority to have that day off, or if it wanted split somewhere else. With some of the hours, since I've been in education, kind of that third to fourth quarter is the lull, where there's not typically many days off. You have Christmas break, and then you have spring break, and everybody just kind of needs some time off. With some of the hours there we were able to save. We can take Good Friday off, which was important to the community. We kind of replaced that from when we had Martin Luther King Day off, and then we were able to take a day off in February as well, with some of those hours we saved by moving those. So essentially a little bit more breaks in there for some 3-day weekends while still preserving the time that we could get out of school. Obviously the state of Missouri requires us to build in 1,044 hours. If you go 36 over that, you're safe with your snow days. If you go the full 60 hours over, it's a guaranteed lock-in, so no matter how many days you miss for weather, no matter what, you won't have to make those up. So we did build that in, as you can see in our total hours there, so we could feel safe in saying that the last day of school would not be further than May 24th unless we chose to extend the school year out, or if there were COVID days or something, but obviously that would lock it in. So just wanted to share that with everyone and give you guys a chance to look at it one more time.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Webster? Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. Need a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. And
So as we revisit the Return to Learn plan on here, couple changes have been made. Mostly it changes monthly, just to be honest with you. The last recommendation we were given was to bring this to our boards every 30 days. The beginning of the year, DESE said it had to be done every 6 months. Then it turned into every 30 days. And now, due to new legislation, since we're no longer in a state of emergency, we do not have to bring it to you every 30 days anymore. So we'll probably unless we need changes, we'll back it back off into the every 6 months. There were changes that I asked that you would please accept today. The big changes are just to fall in guideline with this new CDC guidance that was given, that if you're positive, it's a 5-day quarantine instead of a 10-day quarantine. The only other change that I put in there, I changed all the 10s to 5s within there. The only other change that I made, if you see on page 3, yesterday we had our MASA meeting, and Ed Council, which is a big law firm for the state, as well as Minkus O'Toole were there as representatives, and they wanted us to be sure to speak to our boards about a protector against our Attorney General, essentially. What he is looking for is schools that, if they were to close down for COVID without board approval, he's obviously, his whole campaign here is that superintendents don't have the authority to do that, which brought, within the superintendent's group, brought up the question, are we allowed to really shut down school then for snow? And that's not a hot political issue right now, so nobody cares about that. But the recommendation we were given from both law firms were either A, if you get in a situation where you have to shut down for COVID, you hold an emergency board meeting before you do it, or B, you add a caveat that the board gives you the authority to make those decisions on the need of your district. Obviously, if you guys don't feel comfortable with that and you would like to just have the special board meeting, not a big deal, just when we approve it later, make sure you add that caveat. But the way I do have it written up now is that you would give me the authority to make that decision based on the stance of the district. Obviously, you guys would be communicated with before that decision would ever be made. So those are the only changes in the plan right now.
So the biggest probably change is the 5-day
Correct.
absence
Just
instead of 10.
that's the big
So-
change within it. It's just to fall in line with the last CDC guidelines.
Okay.
Morning monitoring would still be 10 days. It's just if you are positive, it would back off to 5 days instead of 10, which is falling in line, I guess, with what Omicron is showing.
Which is for staff and everybody.
Correct. Yep, staff and students. It would currently, I think my buildings would occur with me now. It would get you some people back quicker as well, right? Yeah, so, yep.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Webster? Okay, on to action topics. The first thing up is MSBA policy BBB. There was an update. Basically, it's just a changing in the wording that the Supreme Court found that the process used to pass the Senate bill was unconstitutional and invalidated the bill. So a little bit of wording change, and I just asked to entertain a motion to approve this.
Make a motion.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Then we have a budget revision number 2.
So, I remember the first budget revision, Mr. Rapp had a comment related to that. Didn't take long. So I'm proud to say I've made it through the second semester before we have to make our second one. Within regards to that, this is actually a good revision that we're making due to a lot of grants that we received. The $380,000 through COVID relief, just it's supplemental. Because money that we were going to use for salaries, we can now put other places because we have grant money to put there. So it is a good revision to the budget. Just wanted to make you guys aware that it is a change to the initial numbers that were brought to you in July.
Make a motion to accept budget revision number 2.
Second.
A motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Next thing's a simple one, just mileage rate. To the past here, I understand that you guys have always followed the IRS mileage rate, and it's gone up to 56 cents, so.
Okay.
It went up to 58.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to set
Correct.
the mileage rate at 58.5 cents per mile.
Okay. I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Make a motion to approve to return to learn update.
Okay. Need a second? Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Superintendent's report.
The first one is just informational. The pre-K immunization report, it just shows you that we are compliant with what DESE says we have to be compliant with. So just wanted to attach that for your viewing. The second one is more informational as well. Next school year will be our last year under our current auditor kind of bid. So we have to open that up a year in advance. So we're just letting you know that we have sent out those bids to anybody that would like to accept us to perform the audit for us. So just informational there. Within the actual board report, budget planning for next school year is underway. That's kind of where my mindset has been in January since we've come back when it's not on COVID. But as we start looking at those things, we're starting looking at building needs and assessments for next year. I've started having very few conversations with Mr. Copeland. Just due to the fact we've been busy, we haven't been able to have many of those conversations, but kind of how I told the admin team we'd move through that. I'd start with elementary, then move to the middle, and then the high school, as we kind of come up with what we need and where we're at. I do know an immediate need that I wanted to put on here that was not budgeted for, but obviously will be fine. Due to needs of a student, we are in need of a one-to-one para at the elementary school, so that'll be something that we'll be opening up to find a person, hopefully someone that is knows sign language. So that's what we're going for, but definitely gonna be looking there. Facilities report, GRP lighting phase, they are at a point where they say they are substantially complete. As you guys know, that doesn't mean done. We've been substantially complete for a year and a half with Brancombe. We're still not done, but I am optimistic we will get finished with GRP pretty quick. There's just a couple little touch-up things that we're having them visit and look at. The Duke Snyder, he's kind of been placed as the project manager for us moving forward. He is going to be performing the work on us that finishes the high school roof this summer. He would also be the project manager if we're move forward in some of the projects that we've discussed. He's been here. They were here last Friday to look at the cafeteria, the weight room, and just kind of preliminary planning for those in case that were to become a reality. They feel very confident if we get to a point where we want to sign a contract, we could get the cafeteria portion done this summer. We could get a weight room addition, locker room addition the following summer. So those are very tentative, as we have not even entered a contract, but it is where they're kind of standing with things. As many of you noticed this morning, the mobile classrooms are gone. The short-term plan for that is when weather cleans up a little bit, obviously we're going to clean it up out there, just throw down some gravel, parking for the quick moment, and then as things progress, if we have needs, we will address them and go there. Dake Wells Branco, the 1 year substantial completion of the project is coming up for the early childhood, so they have to do a 1 year warranty walkthrough with us. That's been scheduled twice, and both times had to be rescheduled. So we're still waiting to do that. Actually today I was supposed to meet with Branco and Dake Wells to do that. They had to cancel due to COVID, and then we have yet to reschedule. I am optimistic, as it stands right now, next month we could possibly have a certified bill, make our last payment, and officially be done with that project. But we'll make sure that things go that way. Technology report, all iPads have been deployed to staff and students at this point. We're still doing some pickup from the stragglers that have yet to get it turned in. Josh and his crew have been working on adding additional storage solutions in an effort to extend our current server infrastructure. So it's kind of thinking ahead long term. The next project that they're working on is to update all the PCs, the desktop computers within the district. So we're hopeful we can get that done this month as well. Next month on the financial statement, you'll notice a very large purchase of around $1 million. It is those iPads and MacBooks. Obviously, that was through a grant, so we will be reimbursed. I think they said the average has been about 45 days, but they're telling you anywhere from 30 to 60 days after you make payment. So that's kind of where that stands. Activities, you can see Mr. Shockley's added all of the activities going on this month, which is a plentiful. So that is all I have on the official board report. As we move into the financial report, you guys can see we closed out the end of 2021 under budget, under the 50% budget, which that marks the 50% way for the school year. So I feel at this point that we're operating within our means, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and financially we're in a good place as a district. Dr. Williams, you can go ahead and go into the building level report.
Okay. I have our attendance there, and it has been fluctuating over the past few days. And with that, I don't know if it's a good thing, but just really wanted to share and say something positive about our nursing staff who have been working extremely hard and are sometimes on the front line of some unpleasant phone calls and responses to the information they're having to share. But they keep coming in every day with a positive attitude and getting the job done. So just wanted to shout out to them. We are busy academically. It seems like, you know, we've had a whole month back since break because we've just been doing so much work. Our math pilots are off and running in all of the buildings. We got to see a little bit of a start to that in one of the classrooms today. And across the district, I'm just going to kind of summarize all the buildings. We have been working on getting some consistency in our vocabulary and the things that we're doing across the board. And part of that is developing our assessment capable learners, inviting DCI to come in and work with us, and then developing an understanding that we can share. The teachers have been doing some work to create their common formative assessments, to unwrap their standards. It's been a very busy time and very productive across the district.
Good. Okay. Awesome. Then MSBA news.
Headed into MSBA news. The first thing that they talked about at their last meeting was the food supply shortage. They're saying this is due to workforce shortage. Many distributors have decided, as they fall short, that it is their priority to provide food to restaurants instead of schools, as their money margin is bigger, so it makes sense for them as a company. So that's kind of why schools have seen less food available to them. They've also discussed that reimbursement rates are often not covering the price of the food hike due to the fact that food has gone up so much. So as you guys know, the state reimburse you for money if your kids are on free and reduced. That used to be at a good rate. Now, unfortunately, just because food's gone up so much, it doesn't always meet it. So schools are losing some money there. School safety is again kind of become a priority at MSBA just due to the fact there's been school shootings, and every time that happens, it kind of jumps back up into the forefront. They talked about their legislative hot topics. Obviously, as the legislative session has started, funding for state schools is a hot topic. The fact of teacher pay is a very hot topic this year. We are 50 of all 50 states in the amount that we pay our teachers. So that's something that conversations are happening. Obviously, the ESSER money is a hot topic, and then board elections is a hot topic, as many politicians are wanting to tie those to the November elections, as well as make board members pick political sides to run on as a platform. And then something that's kind of continued, I think, every month when I've given you this update is the effective internet in areas of the state. Obviously, they're trying to get better internet across the state. So, lastly, we've got the board candidate filing for the 3-year term. We've had Tina Spurgeon, Sandy Bast, and Justin Lort sign up. We have 2 open seats there, and in the 1-year term, we've had Larry Reinhardt. So, even though we had to stick you on the ballot by default, Larry has extended a 1-year term.
They're still writing, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn to closed session.
Need a second?
Second.
All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, we are in closed session.
If that's not operating, I don't know what is.